Hi Noon, it's Breanne, and I get asked quite often how Betsy's doing with her infant acid reflux and how to manage it now that she's a little bit older. She is 10 and a half months, and yes, she does still have it. I will tell you how I know that, but don't get discouraged. It is managed with medication. So if you're in those early weeks where it's just completely so hard and difficult and you're looking at this video thinking, I don't want to even think about that, don't worry, we can make it to where it's better. And you can have it managed, and just so you know, she is sleeping through the night and everything. So hold on, I will show you how to get there. So the very first step that you need to do is find a doctor who believes you. If you don't have a doctor that believes you, you're not going to get anywhere. Only people who have lived through infant acid reflux can truly know what it's like, and just how difficult it is to watch your baby in pain. The entire family suffers from it because they are tired, and it's hard. It's hard to have your baby scream for hours and hours and hours. And so you don't have to live like that. If your doctor tells you your baby has colic or something like that, say, okay, bye. No, we're not going to do that. So find a doctor who understands infant acid reflux. It's changed a lot in the past couple years, and so you really need to make sure that you have the doses right. So that is step one, finding a doctor that believes you. Okay, the second thing is medication. There are a lot of natural things that you can try before you go to medication. You can try the, I think it's amber and hazelwood. I forget which one it is. I think it's the hazelwood that helps with acid reflux. I could be wrong. You could try that. You can try propping your baby upright. They have this rocker sleepers that you can do, and I really recommend that for any baby that has acid reflux, that they don't sleep flat on their backs, that you go and you purchase one of those rocker sleepers. You can transition them out of there as soon as their medication is managed. If your baby is already able to sit up, that really wouldn't work for you, but if you have a younger baby, that would really be recommended. So a lot of insurance companies, this is here in the United States, I don't know how they do it in other countries. If you do and you want to leave that information below, that would be really nice. But here in the United States, a lot of insurance companies push Zantac first. They make you try it for 30 days and see if it works. And the reason why that is because it's cheap for them. Because the medications that actually work for infant acid reflux are a compound. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second, but you need to know that if you try it for 7 days, if it's not working, go back to your doctor and say, no, this is not working. They have to have you try it first, and then you can move on. So just your baby has a really bad case and you know it's not working, go and do that. The other thing is, a lot of times doctors will suggest if your baby is breastfeeding, possibly it's a milk allergy. That is a thing. It's not as common as people are told, I don't think. So I'd really suggest, if you think that your baby has acid reflux, to go after that first before you worry a whole bunch about modifying your diet if you're breastfeeding, or when you switch to, if you're formula feeding, to switch to soy or Alimentum, or what's the other one, Nutramigen. Those are really expensive, and they're really not... it's not necessary, is what I'm trying to say. So, all that to say this, start with looking at acid reflux and managing that, and then if you have to, then you can start looking at the diet and seeing if that is possibly the cause. Betsy did move to soy formula eventually, and that actually is the case. We just switched her in July to see if she could go back to a milk-based formula, and it was a month from hell. So believe me, I know that you can switch, and my daughter did, but don't start there is my point. Okay, so back to the compounding medication. What we're using right now is prilosec, and it is a compound. It needs to be refrigerated. It has to be made at a special pharmacy. So if you live out in the country or you live really far away from a compounding pharmacy, this can be a challenge. And I remember before acid reflux was really understood completely, when my first daughter had it, we had to drive quite a ways to get the medication. Now we're in our own town and we can get it. But so that is something to consider. It does need to be refrigerated, so you need to bring a cooler. Trust me, if you try this medication and it works, you will make the drive and you won't care. It's just something to think about, that is that is one of the other reasons why the insurance companies don't want to do that. I have notes here, just make sure that I tell you. Okay, also, if you have a little one and you are giving medication for the first time, I do have a video I can link below on how to give them the medication. And it's the same way. Betsy now at 10.5 months is really used to it, and she'll just take it. I mean, she likes it. She expects it. It's grape flavored, and she's taken it every day, twice a day for her whole life. So, well, most of her life. But so there's that. Okay, the other thing with these medications is that you need to keep up with their weight. So let's say you gave them the medication, they were really good for a couple weeks, you know, several weeks, maybe a month or two, and then all of a sudden you're starting to see symptoms again, and you're like, what's happening? You're starting to see wet hiccups, you're starting to see spitting up more, coughing, sounding congested, all those kind of symptoms, not wanting to eat, waking up in the night, very fussy, crying. Guess what? They probably grew and their medication is not at the right dose. So you need to keep up with that. You're probably going to have to make a doctor's appointment so that they can weigh your baby before they'll increase the dose. But it's worth it. And then as soon as you're back on, you'll know that it's working again, and that was the issue. Because and sometimes you just get so tired and you get into the swing of life and you just are dealing with a fussy baby, and then one day you're like, why am I doing this? I know what the problem is, you know, and that's frustrating. So you'll know when it's working. The other thing is, so step 1 was to find a doctor that believed you, and step 2 is getting the right dose of medication, and then step 3 was looking for changes in weight gain. Step 4, once all that is done, then you can start worrying about sleep and training them to sleep. If your baby's had acid reflux since birth, or since about 3 weeks is when it really starts to show up, you're going to want sleep, and that's going to be really important to you, and your baby isn't really going to know how yet because they haven't done it. And if you have a baby with that, you understand this. So then you'll start to worry about their sleep, and once their pain is managed, sleeping is, they want to do it, and it will come. Betsy, even though we knew acid reflux was coming, she didn't start sleeping through the night until 6 months. I've never had a baby sleep through the night at 6 months. It's usually way, way later than that. So that's probably not typical. Some babies you hear about sleep through the night right away. We don't talk about those people. Doesn't count. We're not friends with those kind of people. I'm just kidding. So then the other thing is, if you get to a point where your medication is working and you feel like everything was going okay, but you still can hear and see some symptoms throughout the day. They're not super fussy, but you know that they're still having acid reflux. I can still hear Betsy, she'll just start coughing, and you can hear it in her throat and stuff like that. That is when you want to look at what time of day you're giving the medication. We ended up splitting ours up into 2 times throughout the day. So she has it in the morning, and then she has it in the evening. And then another thing is, they tell you to wait at least an hour before, 30 minutes before they eat, or an hour after. Depending on how severe your baby is, you really want to stick to those things. Some people can get away with not being as on top of that as they, if you're out and stuff like that, then it might not be a big deal. Okay, then you also want to test if they're done with acid reflux. We did that at 9 months. That was dumb. She wasn't finished with it. We had a week from hell. We took her slowly off the medication, and then we put her slowly back on because it was she wasn't done with it, and she was in quite a bit of pain. So the last thing I would say, if you're dealing with a baby with acid reflux, is to get support. Find someone who has had a baby with this. Find a doctor that believes you. Get family members to come and help you if you need a rest. You're not alone. A lot of parents have to deal with this. It's not fair. You don't have that fairy tale in your head of what your baby was going to be like, or what those, early cuddles were going to be. And that sucks. But the fact is you're a good parent. You're finding a solution, and it's going to go away. It's not going to last forever, which is a blessing. And a lot of other parents don't have at least that. So know that, yeah, it's hard, but you're not alone. So if I did not answer your question, or you have other questions and you want to leave them below so I can do another update, I would be happy to do that. And yeah, so you're not alone. I'll see you soon. Bye. If you've ever been told your baby has colic, punch him and move on and figure out the real problem. Your baby is in pain for some reason. Some of the things that we started to see besides hiccups and the incessant crying were she would claw us and start to like almost climb up our chest, just